Alright, so now we get part 3. So I'm in my system. I just showed that I was able to replace things I wanted to replace. And I'm going to shut things down. I'm going to mount the other system in which I've built, 6,000 package source packages. And I'll talk a little bit about what some aspects of those libraries. For one, I think I may have mentioned this earlier, they're pretty much vanilla builds. Haven't really done anything special with them. However, Mesa, Glue, and Glut, now that I think about this, I'm going to end up copying in the Mesa and the Glue and the Glut binaries into my system library. I did disable shared memory when I built those. I also noticed when I was poking around that part of the boot up routine says disable shared memory. But we don't have a shared memory header. It's just, until things are clear, I can only assume that we don't have the kind of shared memory that some of these programs want. So these have been built without shared memory enabled. They're and let's shut this down so I could include the other disk. And I'll go over what the command line options would be, whether you're in package source or not. I happen to have those in my settings in package source to auto use the command line options that I've picked, but this is the one I've been working with. I'm going to detach that hard disk, attach it to this one. And this is my second pretty much exploratory package source use build, that had an October date. I'm also actually going to want to look in this build to see whether the patches that I made to make include statement for strings, where they're normally included in string, whether that's problematic after we've brought the strings inclusion into string. That might be difficult to do. I don't want to bootstrap. It'd be nice to know, though. Alright, so I've pretty much booted back in here. But now I'm going to be able to mount this is the one I'm using now. This is the one I've been working with. And these are, it's got like over 5,000 grand total libraries and directories in it. These actually are the libraries that I built with package source. This is boot home package. Well, in this case, Haiku1 home package library is where the libraries end up being placed after package source builds it. And as you can tell, package source will make a static and a shared library in a lot of cases. Alright, so let's just look and see what we got here. Now the first thing that I know is going to work, and I'll just do it again, is library GL. And I thought that was important to show because the library GL that comes with Haiku has different libraries linked into it than the library GL that if you just built it by source has. I showed that in another video. It's easy to show. I'll do it again. So we got readelf -d boot system library gl.so, and we got, library translation in there. Library translation is not normally part of what is in a build you would just do if you just downloaded the source and generically built stuff. So I'm going to copy this directory. There is a library GL in there. What the hell? Did I copy that? We pretty much do the same kind of readelf. And I didn't mess with the standard, stuff except for disabling shared memory. But I didn't mess with the linking or stuff. What incarnation is going on here? Did I actually remove that? And in copy package source parlance, they call this Mesa lib. The whole Mesa is the library GL, library glut, and library glue. Okay, I'm gonna expand this. I've done this before, and I'll do it again. First, I want to make sure that my own system here. I'm wasting an awful lot of time for such giant use of disk space, and just gonna replace all these. This has nothing to do with the experiment. I'm just making sure that I have all the stuff I'm supposed to have on my own system. Okay, this I built on earlier today, a lot earlier today. I'm going to take all this. First, I'm going to look at the structure of the library. So we have a library gl.so that's pretty much standalone. In my system, it must be called library gl so.1.2, and the symbolic link is library gl.so. I don't think it's going to be a problem. It isn't a problem. I want to copy all these in there. Replace them. I still have the graphical user interface. And I'm going to do the same thing to glut. libglut. Both glue and glut. And I'm just going to take them from here. I'm just going to make sure that, and glw, why not? Glue, glut, glw. And let's see, glw. We have a glue, we have a glut. And let's see, these are symbolic links, right? the end of the day, I have to have a lib glu.so.1. I do. At the end of the day, for glw, I have to have a library glw. SO and SO.1 have that. Let's just paste them in. Place them all. Okay, so it didn't cause the system to go zzz. In fact, I don't even need to unmount that. Okay, so let's just restart. Let's see, is it going to survive the replacement of those files? This is what I've done so far. And yeah, it does. Okay, so this will be probably the end of part 2, because this video file is probably quickly getting... No, just over a gig. Okay. So now the experimental stuff. I have the other system in place that if I do bring this thing down by copying over some of the stuff that I've built with the stuff that's natively on the system, well, one, I'm going to make a note of it. Be careful if you ever replace this thing, no matter who you are. But I'm also going to restore it back to what it originally was. And of course, I can only do this for the libraries that I've actually been able to build, right? Maybe I'll pick on some of the older stuff. Who knows if I have it? I might not. Let's just see what happens if we try to use newer libraries. Is it possible for us to use newer libraries? Okay, I got this by name. It's going to count all 5,000 of them. Hopefully it won't be that long. I'm looking for library char. Okay, so we do have a library character set. Build date January 3rd, 2015. This is from August. It seems to want charset.so.1. I do have that. No need to bring in the additional stack library. Let's see what happens. All right. Let's reboot. Does it still boot? It still boots. Does it still connect to the network? We'll find out. In fact, we'll try out web positive here. Now it is using server not found. I don't know if I have to set up my... Let's see if I've damaged anything. It says it's connecting. I'll turn IPv6 off. Now let's do static. Yeah, it seems to think it's connected. Let's just see what happens. Can't really judge by the DHCP because, you know, conditions on the network, the router, whatever. I can just do google.com. There's one thing, it doesn't really seem to have a name server. Let's see. It does believe it's connected. Where exactly is the name server? DNS. I'm going to use Google's. I think it's 4.4. It might be 6.6. I keep forgetting. Now, if this doesn't work, then I'll know that there's something going on with libIconv and DNS resolution. Name server not found. That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. I've had some builds where things just didn't connect all that well. So the real question is, have we done something special to the libIconv, and what does it have to do with, our char set? Is it char set? I think it was actually character set. And does that, why would that have an effect on our DNS resolution? Have we done something special with it? Are we not updating it because it's got a problem? Who knows? And maybe I should have backed that up. So I'm going to unmount this haiku. I'm going to keep note of library character set. Shut down. Go into my other number 2. Okay, first of all. In fact, it's not. Actually, I got to detach that other one. So experimental number 2 will detach. And I'll attach it if I can. Let's see, which one are we actually using here? The main disk is experimental. This is number 1, the one right now that appears to be exhibiting signs of having trouble with DNS resolution. Now, let's get back to some of my builds. So there were some builds that just didn't seem to really do all that well with networking. And if those are linked indirectly to library char set, and if that has anything to do with DNS resolution, which I'll try again, then obviously there's something you actually have to do special to library char set so that applications will actually be able to integrate with the network stack that Haiku provides. Otherwise, it's crapware, right? I don't see that that's really been documented anywhere, but let's find out. All right, so I'm going to go in here. I'm going to mount both these haikus. Two ones that are mostly, the one with the bug is the one I'm using now. The one that's mostly empty is the one where I would get the library character set to replace. This is where I have my package source stuff. Now, I don't think I patched library character set at all. Okay, so Haiku 2, go back into the system. That's strange. So it means I actually have to go back into the number 2. Insane. So basically, the whole system doesn't mount until the bootloader. Those files aren't there anyway. And uninstalling zlib may not even be important. Unbelievable. You learn something new every day. So it's going to boot to, it's the primary master. It's going to boot to the 2. So I'm actually going to have to mount the other one and provide it with the library. I don't think I cut and paste. Yeah, I didn't. It's there. It just has to mount. But the package file system, if the package file system can't mount, then stuff won't work. Also, there's a very remote, I'm going to try web positive, a very remote chance that that nightly happens to have, and there's server not found. So that's a false positive. This is experimental number 2. And I'll just check to make sure this is not the one which I switched up. Like care set. This is an August 13, 2003 build. So it was like care set. I have to check to see, you know, it might be the driver I'm providing. That might be a false positive. It might be the driver I'm providing with shutdown in VirtualBox, the envelope. Right, so there's more to it. You want to pick the Intel Pro 1000 desktop or you're going to have networking problems. I'm sure I didn't do that. Yeah. Do I have this deny stuff going on here? So that was a false positive. That was not... a problem that emerged as a result. It's a setting. So being able to change things allows you to troubleshoot and find out what's really going on. Otherwise, you have to guess, and you have a best guess. And all you can really do is go with your best guess until you get something else. It's the way things work when you try to figure things out in complex systems with multiple factors affecting the outcomes. So, okay, so back experimental, let's shut off. Storage, detach, remove. I think maybe I'm actually going to find out that there's no ill effects. Check the size here. Oh my god.